Hello tacticians and strategists. Welcome back to Strategic Mind, Spirit of Liberty, the free prologue, the tutorial and playing hardball. So, in the last episode we have covered the first 4 parts of the tutorial: basic training, movement, attacking and stuff, supply points, infrastructure, how to cut off the supply of the enemy, army management, how to allocate skills, equipment, then transportation of troops via air, sea and land, via rail. Pretty interesting, and well, basically what we know from Panzer General, the old Panzer General concept. And now let's see combat mechanics. What do they have in store here?
Hello, Commander. This time we'll take a look at the key combat mechanics of the Strategic Mind series. Weather has a great impact on the operation. Rain and other uncommon weather types might complicate your operation a fair bit. The rain applies a 33% penalty to all units' attack values and provides a +1 bonus to camouflage. Fighting in the rain is therefore a lot harder. Some units can negate the rain penalties using the all-weather skill. In the bottom left corner of the screen, right above the minimap, there is the rain icon. If you hover over it, you will see the hint explaining its effects. You can also see how it affects your troops by hovering over unit parameters in the unit info screen. Now click on the tactical bomber with your middle mouse button to open its unit info screen.
So bad weather conditions reduce the attack of all units by 33% but increase their camouflage by 1.
The most important indicator for every unit is its strength. Both the unit's health and damage output depend on strength. At maximum strength, the unit will deal 100% of its damage. The lower the unit's current strength, the less damage it will deal to the enemy, and as the unit's strength is recovered, the damage will grow. Moreover, strength serves as the health indicator for land units and aircraft. Naval units have hull HP instead. If the strength reaches 0, the unit is destroyed or forced to retreat. Above the strength indicator, there is another one, damaged. This has to do with the 2 types of damage in the game, lethal and non-lethal. Lethal damage immediately reduces the unit's strength, meaning that some of the troops were killed in action. In contrast, any non-lethal damage dealt to the unit is automatically restored on the next turn, provided the unit was within the active supply zone.
Okay, that's interesting. So it is automatically restored on the next turn, provided the unit was within the active supply zone. Okay.
Now close the unit info screen. Let's see the damage distribution in practice. Select a bomber. Attack the enemy infantry.
U-87B, 14 total, 13 soft attack plus 1 level, -5 rain and +5 all weather. Okay, so we kill off 4 against the 14 total defense.
Move your bomber away. Select the artillery. Attack the enemy infantry. You may have noticed that the damage values are displayed as 2 numbers separated by a slash. The left number is the amount of lethal damage, and the right number is the non-lethal damage. Open the enemy infantry's unit info screen. Have a look at the strength and damaged indicators. Your bomber did 4/0 damage, meaning 4 lethal and 0 non-lethal. Your artillery did 1/4 damage, meaning 1 lethal and 4 non-lethal damage. Thus, the enemy unit's strength was reduced by a total of 9 and is now 1/10. At the same time, the enemy has 4/10 damaged. If this unit receives no further damage, on the next turn, its damage will become 0/10, and its strength will increase to 5/10, but only if it is within the active supply zone. Now close the unit info screen.
Okay. You probably remember the other episode with the other tutorial there. I said that this concept of damage and strength, or rather injury and strength, is from the Panzer General, which was like a later game from the Panzer General series, which is also a really good game, by the way, or was basically, because it's really old. But there you had to rest a turn to heal up the damage. So what's this? Previous attacks, the unit has already been attacked 2 times this turn. It has a -2 penalty to all combat parameters until the end of turn. The biggest value for this penalty is 4. That's very interesting and also pretty realistic. I like it. Soft defense, so that people are really heavily under fire. River attack can attack one big river. Interesting. Air mobile, coastal landing. They can cover in close quarters. Okay.
You will not give the opponent a chance to recover, right? Select the tank unit. Move to the highlighted hex. Attack the enemy infantry. Note that the enemy has 0 strength left, but the unit hasn't been destroyed. This state is called suppression. Open the enemy infantry unit info screen. As you can see, even though the unit's strength is 0, it still has damaged value. That is why the unit still exists. Suppressed units will try to get away from the opposing forces, and any further attack against the unit will either destroy it or force it to surrender. Usually suppression lasts for 1 turn, but if the unit is within the active supply zone, its strength will be restored, and the unit will function as normal.
On the next turn.
Now close the unit info screen. Select the recon unit. Move it to the highlighted hex. Attack the suppressed enemy infantry unit. Suppressed enemy units surrender automatically if they are attacked in close combat. When you capture the enemy unit, you gain some prestige, ammo, and fuel. Recon units, as well as infantry with scout squad equipment, gather intelligence data by capturing enemy units. Intelligence data makes all nearby enemy units identified, giving you full information about them.
Okay, question is how far away all nearby enemy units is. Identify gives you full information about them.
Click on the End Turn button.
Okay, well, I can't click right now.
As you can see, the enemy units outside your recon unit's spotting range no longer count as identified. The reason for it is that intelligence data effect lasts only 1 turn. Now let's talk about spotting, as demonstrated by your recon unit. Select it. Move the recon unit to the highlighted hex. You have spotted the enemy. At this point, the enemy is considered unknown. You don't know the unit's characteristics, only its location. While the unit is unknown, it gets a solid defensive bonus. The closer your unit is to the enemy, the more information you'll gather. Move the recon unit closer to the enemy positions. Now the enemy unit is considered spotted. You know what type of unit it is, but do not have the full information about it, such as its strength and exact combat parameters. Spotted units still get bonuses to their defenses, but much smaller ones. Move the recon unit even closer to the enemy. Now you have finally identified the enemy unit. This means you have full information about it. It also loses any defensive bonuses it had from concealment. The recon unit has the highest base spotting range among your units. Recon units are essential for locating and identifying enemies. Now that the enemy has been located and identified, it is time to strike. The best way to start the assault on the enemy positions is by preliminary bombardment. Select the artillery unit. Move it closer to the enemy. Attack the enemy infantry.
This doesn't look like a good idea.
Some units, including the artillery, can provide fire support to nearby allies. That's why they should be dealt with as quickly as possible. Now select the bomber. Attack the enemy artillery. Anti-aircraft guns pose a serious threat to your aircraft units due to their overwatch, the ability to attack every plane entering their gun range. Upon being overwatched, the aircraft loses the ability to move until the next turn. If the enemy anti-aircraft gun wasn't spotted before the attack, it also surprises your unit, leaving it unable to both move and attack.
Oh, this is pretty harsh.
Same as with the fire support, you can check whether the unit has the overwatch ability by opening its unit info screen and looking through its skills. By default, any unit can overwatch only once per turn, and any attack against it will disable its overwatch until the unit's next turn. Open the enemy anti-aircraft guns unit info screen. Note that the Overwatch Air skill is currently crossed out. That means that the unit will not be able to overwatch again this turn. Yet it can still offer fire support to the nearby units, or return fire if it comes under attack. Now close the unit info screen.
Okay, well that's pretty interesting.
Despite these unfortunate setbacks, you have enough forces to occupy the city. Select the tank unit. Move it to the highlighted hex. Attack the enemy infantry. As you can see, this wasn't the best idea. Tanks are very vulnerable to infantry while in close quarters. Battles in difficult terrain such as city, forest, or mountains, or against well-entrenched infantry units. While in close quarters, tanks lose 80% of their defense. Thus, you shouldn't assault cities with tanks if you haven't lowered the enemy infantry strength first.
That is pretty logical.
When attacking, keep in mind that the enemy's return fire will happen before your unit's attack. Consequently, your unit will attack with its strength already lowered, causing it to deal less damage. There are other ways to lower a unit's combat readiness. Open the enemy infantry's unit info screen. Hover over the soft defense parameter. Note that it has a previous attacks penalty. Each attack reduces the unit's attack and defense parameters by 1, up to a -4 total, making successive attacks more effective. This effect does not apply to naval units. Thus, well-defended ground troops should be worn down through successive attacks, then finished off in the final assault. Now close the unit info screen. In any case, the enemy forces are dwindling. Select your infantry. Move to the highlighted hex. Attack the enemy infantry. Needs to weaken the enemy's anti-air defenses before the airstrike. Select the self-propelled artillery. Hover over the highlighted enemy unit. You can see the combat prediction in the top right corner of your screen, with all the bonuses and the penalties applied to all units involved. It also displays the average expected damage to both your and the enemy units. Have a look at the Range Defense Modifier Parameter, or RDM. If your unit is firing at its maximum range, the target will receive +4 defense. Attack the designated enemy unit.
Aha.
Try shortening the distance by moving your self-propelled artillery closer to the enemy. Now hover over the enemy's anti-aircraft gun once again to see the new combat prediction. As you can see, the RDM value is now lower, and the expected damage is higher. If you make an attack from a distance lower than your maximum gun range, the target will get a lower defense bonus. In close combat, RDM does not apply. Attack! It is high time for the aerial bombardment of the enemy artillery. Select your bomber. Attack the enemy artillery. Move your bomber away. All enemy units are currently weakened. Now is the perfect moment to use the tank's signature skill called Overrun. Select the tank unit. Move it to the highlighted hex. Attack the enemy artillery. Enter the now empty hex. The Overrun ability allows tanks to move and attack again if their previous attack finished off an enemy unit. Now take care of the enemy infantry. Occupy the hex.
Well,
now finish off the anti-aircraft gun. Enter the now empty hex. Using the Overrun skill, you have defeated 3 enemy units in 1 turn, and there's no limit to the possible number of Overrun attacks. The only downside is that units do not receive additional experience after the first Overrun activation. Click on the End Turn button. You've surely noticed the change in lighting. Every 3rd turn of the operation, a night descends, which reduces the attack parameters of all units by 66%, and their spotting range by 50%, but no lower than 1. Without special equipment, such as radars or spotlights, or skills such as Night Hunter, your units will be unable to fight efficiently at night. On the upside, this is the perfect moment for covert troops movement or flanking maneuvers.
Quite interesting.
In the bottom left corner of the screen, above the minimap, you can see the night icon. If you hover over it, you will see the exact effects. You can also see how it affects any individual unit in its unit info screen. During the assault on the enemy positions, your units took some losses. You should reinforce your troops before continuing the offensive. Select your most damaged tank. Click on the HQ Skills button. Select Reinforcement.
Reinforcements during the operation cost 50% of the unit's price. After the operation, all units are automatically restored for 20% of their price.
In the Reinforcement menu, you can use Prestige to restore your unit's strength. If you reinforce the unit for at least 1 strength, the damaged units are restored for free. Units can only reinforce within the active supply zone of your infrastructure. You can select how much of the unit's strength you want to reinforce. Otherwise, the unit will be completely replenished by default. All units are automatically reinforced after the operation. Note that reinforcement during the operation is twice as expensive in terms of prestige as the automatic reinforcement after the operation. Thus, you should be conservative with your reinforcements, or you'll have less prestige to spend on new units after the operation. Click on the Reinforcement button. You have prepared your troops for the upcoming battles. The night is not the best time for combat or reconnaissance, so let us wait for daytime. Click on the End Turn button. Let us have a closer look at the HQ skills. There are times when there are no recon units close at hand, or you need to scout multiple locations. For such situations, you have the Aviation Recon HQ skill at your disposal. Click on the Command Points button at the top right corner of the screen. On the lower right panel, click on the Aviation Recon icon.
Summons the reconnaissance aviation on the battlefield.
Hover over the highlighted hex and click on it with the left mouse button. Aviation recon is an incredibly useful skill, but using it costs a number of command points every time. You regain some command points on every turn. The more core units are deployed for the operation, the lower your command points income will be. Moreover, there is a maximum number of command points, which they cannot exceed. You will get more command points as you progress through the campaign. Apart from the enemy troops, our recon has located the fort defending the city. It is a stationary defensive unit that will attack every soft target entering its firing zone. Click on your tank unit to deselect it. Then select the fort to see its firing zone. Units with flamethrowers excel at clearing the forts. This special type of equipment is only available to the infantry and most tanks. Open the infantry's unit info panel. Open the equipment tab. Select the flamethrower.
This does damage to forts, coastal batteries and other fortifications equal to the current unit strength. The unit receives +4 attack against the enemy located inside the building.
Click on the Acquire button. Now close the unit info screen. Where there is a fort, you can expect to see minefields as well. Fortunately, your recon unit has a separate squad. Equipment that allows the unit to locate and clear the minefields. Select the recon unit. Scout the way by moving the recon unit to the highlighted hex. There's the minefield. The separate squad will reduce the minefield strength by the number equal to the squad's strength. And the strength of the sappers in turn equals the strength of the unit they're attached to. Don't forget, Sapper Squad is an easy target and will be automatically attacked by enemy units if it enters their gun range. To clear a minefield, move your recon unit to an adjacent hex. Move your mouse over the minefield, and once you see the demine icon, click on it with your right mouse button. It seems that the path is clear. It is time to take care of the enemy fort. Select the infantry armed with flamethrowers. Move closer to the fort to engage it in close combat. Attack the fort. Armed with flamethrowers, the infantry deals damage equal to its current strength to all types of fortifications. Fort defeated in close combat will be taken over by the attacker and will become his fort with 5 strength. Flamethrower is also effective against the enemy infantry hiding inside any buildings, providing +4 attack against it. It also reduces enemy entrenchment level by 2 before the attack. Now, what is entrenchment? Have a look at the enemy infantry occupying the supply point. You may notice the sandbags and other barricades around it. It means that the unit has some level of entrenchment. If any land unit finishes a turn while still being able to move, it gains 1 level of entrenchment. The longer the unit stays in place, the higher its entrenchment becomes. Every level of entrenchment provides +1 to all defense parameters. You may open the unit info panel to see its current entrenchment. Any attack against the unit will lower its entrenchment by 1. However, take into account that a unit attacking in close combat does not receive any benefits from entrenchment. If the unit moves to another hex, it loses its entrenchment entirely. City hexes offer solid defensive bonuses by themselves, and if a city is occupied by well-entrenched infantry, your troops will have a tough time clearing it. First, however, we have to deal with the fighter plane providing the enemy infantry with air cover. You have 2 fighter units of your own. You can engage in a frontal attack, but then your unit will come under the return fire and suffer significant damage. Fortunately, fighters have certain skills that will come in handy. Select the fighter unit. On the lower right, you can see the Afterburner button. This active skill gives your fighter a defensive bonus, allowing you to minimize the damage from the return fire. Activate the Afterburner. Move to the highlighted hex. Attack the enemy fighter. Great! You've dealt a solid blow to the enemy unit. Select the second fighter. Activate the Afterburner active skill. Move to the highlighted hex. Finish off the enemy fighter.
Return fire costs 1 plane.
The enemy infantry has been left without the air cover. Select the bomber. Attack the enemy infantry. Fall back to the highlighted hex. Good. Now select the second bomber. Attack the enemy infantry again. Fall back to the highlighted hex. Now select the tank unit. Move to the highlighted hex. Finish off the enemy infantry. Occupy the hex. Congratulations! The operation was a success. Click on the Finish Operation button to exit to the tutorial menu.
Okay, nice. So, well, I mean, the basic principles are of course the same as with the successful Panzer General series, but I think they added quite a lot of nice stuff to it. I mean, it's part of it is also like from the later games, you know, like Allied General and the People's General and so on. So the series, the Panzer General series, evolved over time, of course. And yeah, I think here these guys with strategic mind, I think they picked basically all the really good rules and added on to them. So this, to me personally, it looks really promising. Yeah, and well, I would like to know what you think about it. Yeah, let's discuss it. And yeah, otherwise, thank you for watching, and I would appreciate if you click the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never ever miss an episode again. So next time, bye bye.